can ask you if you find a shoe comfortable, and you might say that it's the most horrific shoe in the world. And I can add it into my collection, wear it, and I actually think it is an amazing shoe, and I wear it over and over again. Hi everyone, and welcome back, or welcome if you are new around here. My name is May, and since we are going into the summer season very soon, even though I pretty much have summer year-round here in Miami, I wanted to get into my designer or luxury high-end shoes and kind of give you guys my 2 cents and my opinion in regards to them. For the most part, I splurge on shoes that I know that I will have a lot of wear for them and a lot of occasions in order to incorporate them in. So most of these shoes are kind of like summer related because, as I said, I do live in Miami, so sandals are my go-to for the majority of the year. I don't like to splurge on high-end or designer shoes for travel purpose just because I know that those will ultimately get super beat up. Therefore, on that end, and sorry guys, I know I'm gonna keep on touching my bangs, but this is like a new kind of style for me, so I'm adapting. So forgive me if I touch my hair way too much in this video. But as I was saying, for travel purposes, I kind of go more of the affordable route since I will ultimately beat those shoes up and then have to replace them at some point. If I want to incorporate a nice pair of shoes for a more kind of special occasion, then that's when I do a little bit of research, kind of build an opinion, ask you guys for your opinion over on Instagram in order to decide whether the shoe is worth it or not. Which, to be completely honest, and this is just through the years of me collecting designer shoes is really just a personal preference and individual sort of thing. I can ask you if you find a shoe comfortable, and you might say that it's the most horrific shoe in the world. And I can add it into my collection, wear it, and I actually think it is an amazing shoe, and I wear it over and over again. Which is gonna lead me right into the first shoe that I wanna get into, and those are going to be the Hermes Oasis sandals. So we're gonna start off with my first pair, and that is the black pair right here. And I call these my Lucky Charm shoes. I actually did a post on Instagram a while back in regards to these. But it turns out that these were the shoes that I was wearing the day that I went to pick up my first Hermes bag, which was my Picotin 18 in the color Etoupe. And coincidentally, which I had no idea was going to happen, I was wearing these shoes the day that my SA offered me my holy grail, my dream bag, my Birkin 25 in the color gold with gold hardware, aka Nugget. So these little shoes right here definitely have a special place in my heart. Putting all that aside, these shoes are amazing. Guys, from the beginning, even the first time I wore them, I got so much negative comments in regards to the orans that I was terrified to add a Hermes shoe into my collection. I tried on the orans just because I do like the style of like the H, this very like classic H silhouette from the fashion house. To me is very simple, very chic. It's very easy to incorporate into my wardrobe. So I wanted to make the orans work. However, the 2 times that I tried them on in the boutique, I was like, no, I just can't. First of all, for me, it wasn't even a comfort thing because I didn't wear them enough to let you know if they were gonna be comfortable or not. It was just the way that my foot looked in them. So for me personally, I do feel like the orans, my feet slide forward a little bit more. Hence, this part kind of ends up laying in the middle of my foot rather than where my toe section is at. They also have a more of a squared sort of toe, which for me personally, even though I find it very cool on some shoes, I don't really necessarily like how they look on me. So I went ahead and gave the Oasis a try instead, and I loved them. Thankfully, the heel height is nothing too crazy. It's actually a very comfortable heel height in my opinion. And it's high enough where you can take it out for night times if that's kind of like the look that you're going for. But at the same time, I wear these shoes to go walk around in the mall. I do have to say they did require a break-in period, but through that break-in period, the blisters or the pain on my feet were nothing that it was like unbearable. Where I've heard horror stories of the orans. I mean, we have Amber Ashley here on YouTube that she has hers and she's still trying to break them in. But she just says that every time that she wears them, they're just so painful. And that's the thing that I don't want from designer shoes. So Obviously, you kind of take a risk when you add a pair of designer shoes into your collections, because at the end of the day, you don't know if they're gonna work out for you or not. And that is one thing that I need, is comfortable shoes. Like, if the shoes are not comfortable, I don't care how cute they are. I might just keep obviously the one pair that I have, but I definitely will not add any more into my collection. And as you can see, the Oasis definitely did not have that problem whatsoever. I loved these shoes. Once I knew that the black ones were working out great for me, I wanted to add them in every single color. I do have to say that these are in, I believe it's Epsom. I'll confirm and I'll leave it up on the screen, but they are different than my black ones and my gold ones. The black and gold do have the smooth leather, as you can see, while the tube do have a little bit of graining. Comfort wise, I personally felt like these were a lot more comfortable from the start than these. As I did say, these did require a little bit of a break-in period. Most of all, I felt it more on like my pinky toe, since I do kind of have a little bit of wide feet rather than anywhere else on my foot. However, with the tube, which you can probably even kind of see that they do look a little bit wider in a sense, they were a lot more comfortable right from the start. Now, I almost forgot, but I also wanted to talk about sizing in regards to all these shoes. And for the Hermes Oasis, I actually opted going true to size. So I'm usually a 7.5 when it comes to like slide sort of shoes, and I went with a 7.5 with all of my Hermes Oasis. Now, the majority of the shoes that I will be mentioning today are on the kind of designer end, just because I wanted to touch base on those shoes, since we kind of want to do a little bit of research before splurging or spending, you know, a high amount of money on shoes. However, with that being said, I do have an honorable mention later on in the video that I could not include in this video. So let's get into one of my most recent purchases, and I'll get into my most recent purchase next, but this one was before that one, and I am so excited to be able to say that these are a gigantic hit. And those are my YSL Tribute sandals. Guys, I don't even know what's the word that I'm searching for, but these are so good. I am so surprised at how comfortable these sandals are. Now, I do want to point out, which I have mentioned already when I've talked about these over on my Instagram, my friend Yastin here on our social media platforms, she actually mentioned to me to try on shoes in the house whenever I want to break them in, rather than just winging it and trying them on for the first time when you are going to be going out and about, which I was personally doing. Let me know if I was the only one taking a risk like that. But she did mention, May, just walk around your house, put on socks to kind of stretch them out a little bit, and just wear them even with socks or without socks, just to walk around the house, do your things. That way you start breaking it in that way. And I was like, oh my God, how did I not think about that? So that is exactly what I did with these. I did wear them around the house, maybe for like a couple of hours, but I work from home, so I was sitting and then I would get up to maybe grab a snack or make my lunch, things like that. So that's the way that I wore them and sort of broke them in my house. However, the first time that I took them out, guys, they were amazing. No blisters, no pain whatsoever. I walked around the mall and I checked my phone that day afterwards, and I probably got in about 5,000 steps, and my heel was the only part that was kind of bothering me. So maybe that's just kind of a user malfunction rather than the shoes themselves. Aside from that, I've worn them various amount of times already, and I love them. It's one of the shoes that it's like a pleasure to grab them and put them on. Now, for size reference, on my YSL Tribute sandals, I ended up going half a size. And I think that primarily has to do with the width of the front part of the shoe. It is a very slim sort of style here in the front part. And that originally was my biggest concern as to me thinking that the shoe was going to be uncomfortable, because as I said, I do have a little bit of a wider foot. So when I went ahead and tried them on, the SA or the sales associate that was helping me did ask me what size I wanted, and I said, I'm usually a 7.5. He's like, I'm gonna bring you a 7.5, but I'm also gonna bring you an 8, because since they are a little bit kind of slimmer in the front, usually a half size up will work best. Best thing he recommended, and he was totally right. All right, now let's move on to my most recent purchase, and those are going to be these beautiful beautiful, beautiful Dior Slingback in the Raffia material. As soon as I saw these when they came out, I was like, oh my God, do I need those shoes? Yes, I need those shoes. And I went ahead and went on Instagram to ask you guys in regards to your thoughts about the Dior Slingbacks. And that's when I say that I got a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people were like, I love them, they're so comfortable. A lot of people were like, they are the worst shoes ever, do not get them. But I just love them too much to pass them up. I have worn them once. I do have to say we went out to dinner, walked a little bit because we parked somewhere and walked about maybe like 2 or 3 blocks. After we ate, we did walk a little bit more. They were not the most comfortable shoe, but they weren't uncomfortable where I felt like an unbearable pain on my feet. Again, they have to be broken in. I did do the little kind of playing around with them in the house before I wore them that time, but I didn't break them in the house as much as I did the sandals. So maybe doing that really does help when you go ahead and wear the shoe. I have been wearing them in the house recently a lot more because I do have a few outfits in which I want to incorporate them into, and I want them to be a little bit more comfortable than they were that first night. They are just a very classic, very elegant style, but at the same time, I love that they do have the raffia detail. Am I worried about wear long term? Absolutely. It's not a leather shoe. Raffia can definitely be very delicate at times, so it is a pair of shoes that I will try to be picky about when I do incorporate them. I want to maybe look at the weather, see if it's going to rain, you know, kind of see where it is that we're going in order to incorporate them in my look. But regardless of that, I want to make sure that I also enjoy them. And then for size reference on these, I actually ended up going my true to size for like slide sort of shoes. So since they're not completely a closed style of shoe, I didn't have to go up to an 8. I ended up getting the 7.5, which is what I usually am, sort of, again, in those like slide style of shoes. And they worked out perfectly. All right, let's get into another pair of designer shoes, which I personally love. And those are going to be my Valentino Rockstuds. These are the caged sandals, I believe is the name. They are the ones that have the strap at the top, and then they are the one with the smaller heel. So they do offer these in a thin heel, and then they also have them in a taller, chunkier heel, which I think are really, really nice, to be honest with you. Before I had the Hermes, I went ahead and bought these, and my reasoning behind it was I kind of wanted a shoe that I can use even during the day to like spruce up my outfit, you know, to spice it up a little bit, but that it would also have a little heel that I would also feel comfortable wearing at night times if I wanted to wear a fancier sort of outfit, but at the same time be comfortable. Hopefully that makes sense. And these have been the perfect shoe for that. I love the Valentino detail. I love all the little rock studs that it has. I think it gives the shoe like an extra elegant touch that it's missing from it just being a regular kind of like gladiator sort of sandal. And this chunky heel makes all the difference in the comfort. Very similar to the Hermes Oasis. For me, this is like my favorite style of sandal. I love a good pump. I think it looks so elegant and in a way so sexy also, but they're so uncomfortable for me. Hence why I'm trying to break in the Dior Slimbacks a little bit more, because since I do have a little bit of a wider foot, the pump style kind of squeezes my foot, and that's why it becomes a little bit more uncomfortable. While this style, which is just basically an open sandal, is very, very comfortable for my foot type in particular. Last thing I want to touch up on these is actually size. And funny enough, I own 2 pairs of these. I have these in the color Poudre, which is like that very soft kind of pinkish tone, and I have these in this beautiful cognac color. These are 7.5. My poudre ones, or my pinkish ones, are a 7. I honestly cannot see the difference for the life of me. So I think you're good to go whether you go for like your true full size or if you go up half a size. Maybe if you plan on wearing them a lot and you feel like your feet are gonna swell up a little bit, I would go up that half a size. But as I said, I think if you go just your true to size, you should be good to go, because you really won't be able to tell the difference just by half a size. The following are, I guess, considered a category within designer or luxury shoes, and those are going to be my jelly sandals. I'm gonna do a 2-in-1 for these because I have a comparison video in regards to specifically these two, so the Valentino versus the Hermes, and there I share all of my thoughts, which one I feel is more comfortable, which one I would consider adding before the other, and so on and so forth. So I'll leave that link down below. Now, jellies are something that I personally love just because I find them so cute and so fun in order to take them to the beach. For me personally, even though the Hermes are a very unique style and they kind of have this very iconic detail here from the fashion house, which is like their chain detail, I love my Valentino jellies. These are my go-to beach sandals over and over again. I love that they have the little bow. I just find it so girly and so fun. I do also own these in the black, and I just think that these are really, really fun to have in your wardrobe if you like going to the beach or if you live in a warmer climate. I've had mine for years now. These have probably been with me for, I want to say, 5 years, and my black ones have been with me for more or less either 3 or 4, and they've held up super, super well, you guys. The only wear that I've seen on these is just kind of like the Valentino logo has kind of started to wear off. As you can see, it kind of turns like this greenish color. Other than that, everything else looks absolutely perfect. Now, my only recommendation in regards to the jellies that I do is every time that I get home, whether it's the pool, whether it's the park that I went and used these for, or whether it is the beach, I do rinse them with water from, you know, the sink. And then depending on how they look, I might wash them with a little bit of dish soap. If not, the rinsing is enough. And then I just leave them to dry and put them away in my closet. Size-wise, for both of these, I did go up to the next size. So in sandals, I can be either a 7 or a 7.5. For these, I did opt for an 8 in both, just because these types of sandals, you can easily see that once you start walking, if you do go up that size, it's gonna look a lot better on your foot and be a lot more comfortable than if you are between sizes and you go the one before. So if you are 7.5 and you go for a 7, you'll definitely see that your heel will pop out of the sandal. So if you are a 7, maybe go for the 7, maybe they'll fit you well. But if you are in between sizes, definitely size up to the next one. Now that does it for my high-end or luxury designer shoes in my collection that I feel are like my go-to. I love incorporating them into my outfits. However, as I did say, I do have an honorable mention, and those are going to be my Sam Edelman shoes. Guys, Sam Edelman, like if you want a very well-made pair of shoes that's going to last you, that are comfortable, hello Sam Edelman. These are the most amazing comfortable shoes that I own. No break-in period whatsoever for neither of these. They were comfortable right from the start, which is a lot to say for a closed-toe shoe. Because as I said, sometimes either you need to stretch out the leather in the front a little bit. I've had shoes and flats that this back part is like a murder scene once you take off the shoe because it's been rubbing at the back of your heel or, you know, a little bit higher. These, none of that. There is a cushion on the footbed of the shoe that just makes all the difference for the comfort level of these shoes. I've worn these shoes and walked in them 15, close to 20,000 steps. The black ones were the ones that I took on my latest trip. We visited London and we also visited Edinburgh, Scotland, and I wore those while we went out and walked around the entire day, and they were more comfortable than my Nike sneakers. I promise you, like I was so surprised at how comfortable these shoes were. I had already worn them previously, but obviously not for such a long period of time, so I was kind of worried. But once I tried them out and saw how comfortable they were, I just wanted to continue incorporating them into all of my looks. So again, if you are just searching for kind of like a style of shoe or a shoe brand that has various styles, because they offer heels, they offer pumps, they offer slides, they offer loafers, sneakers, I would highly, highly recommend you check out Sam Edelman. I mean, I promise you this video is not sponsored. I wish at some point they would want to work with me, but I just honestly love and want to make sure that you guys are also adding comfortable shoes into your collection, and these will not let you down. Now for size reference on these, I actually sized down half a size. For closed toe shoes, for the most part, I go with an 8. and these are a 7.5, and again, they fit me perfect. They were never snug, they were just comfortable on my feet from the beginning. And even as I wore them on my trip, which we walked a lot and my feet would get swollen, they were never uncomfortable to be able to walk around the city. Okay guys, so that does it for kind of like a review, kind of like my thoughts, whether I recommend them, sort of my summer shoe recommendations from luxury fashion houses for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any particular designer or high-end shoe that you absolutely love, if you have any sort of like break-in tips for shoes just in general, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. As always, I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to spend with me today, and I hope to catch you all in my next one. Bye everyone.